What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Roxora, and here we do all things card games. Today we're doing another Commander deck where I take a look at a deck list submission, take a look at the commander, the individual card choices, as well as the strategy overall, and give it a rating of 10 at the end. Today we have a deck list that I got a peek at Saltfest, the cEDH tournament that I participated in, and it's always really exciting to see the other like kind of wacky decks that people are bringing. And so this is an interesting deck that I saw, and so I asked them if they could send me a deck list later on. I did not obviously ask them for the deck list during the tournament. I'm not going to do that to an opponent, but afterwards they were very nice and through Discord sent me their list, and it's pretty interesting. And so we're going to take a look at it. And before we get into the deck list, if you enjoy the content, remember to like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out. And let's talk about this really cool deck list. All right, so first we're going to talk about the commander, obviously, one of the most important things for these kinds of decks. So we got none other than Gyruda, Doom of Depths, one of the companions from the Ikoria set. So all these are legendary creatures that you could use as your companion if you have a certain deck building restriction, but they are also just legendary creatures and eligible to be your commanders. So that's what we have here. So not companioning Gyruda. Again, there are some decks in cEDH that do Gigantha and some other things like that. I've seen Luris even in certain circumstances, but Gyruda here as our general. And it is 4 and then 2 of blue-black hybrid. So 6 mana for a 6/6 Demon Kraken. And it's, we can basically ignore this companion text, but it says whenever it enters the battlefield, each player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard, and you put any creature with converted mana cost, from among those cards onto the battlefield under your control. So you get everyone mills 4. You find an even cost card from any of the 4 piles that you milled, assuming this is in commander, and you just slap that creature onto the battlefield. Pretty powerful card. Obviously, a little bit expensive, but very quickly in a lot of constructor formats, it was very clear how to break it. And we can kind of do the same thing here in Commander, and it's pretty cool. So let's get to the actual deck list here. So I will note, so this comes from I'm Always Tilting, but they wanted me to mention that it is from another person. I tried to look up this person. I couldn't really find. I found some other lists on Moxfield, but they all are just references to this person. So again, this is the person I got it from. This is the actual person that supposedly originally made the list. I kind of feel like it's fine. Everyone is like on the internet, posting stuff or whatever. So, it's not crazy to, have someone make an idea, but then someone else to kind of take it and run with it. I kind of did the same thing with Vadric, where I had someone else, saw someone else's Vadric list, took it and did some things with it. People are doing the kind of same thing with my Stella list, or I'm sure people are seeing my deck lists on some tournament results, taking that and editing it. It's just a thing that happens in these cases, and that's totally fine. But let's talk about this list. So we're in Dimir, obviously. So we have some of the things that you'd expect to see in a competitive deck. Of course, you have the Thassa's Oracle and Demonic Consultation stuff. But the real thing here with Gyruda is clones. Very quickly in Constructed, people kind of realize, like, hey, if you have any kind of clone effect, right, you can play Gyruda, get a clone and use it to copy a Gyruda and keep going. And then you can even do some kind of weird stuff with things like Spark Double, where it can be a non-legendary copy of Gyruda, and you can just make this huge pile of Gyrudas and just smash your opponent in the face. And then there are some other kind of combos that we'll talk about here. So the big thing here are all of the creatures here in these piles. Right, we have Flesh Duplicate, Phantasmal Image, Clever Impersonator, Clone, Gigantoplasm, Mirror Hall Mimic, Phyrexian Metamorph. We'll talk about Roaming Throne here in a moment. Sakashima, Auton Soldier, which is the first time I've seen that card. Vizier Many Faces, Stunt Double, not Spectral Arcanist, Spark Double, Sakashima the Imposter. So all of these are just even CMC clone effects. They come into play, they become a copy of Gyruda, and you can once again get that same enter the battlefield effect. So very interesting line there. So you are again getting a bunch of these triggers, presumably milling people out quite aggressively and kind of digging through your deck, which is an interesting way to kind of do things. Roaming Throne here is kind of the same as well, but it's a good thing card to hit off of Gyruda, because then you play a clone and you get 2 copies of it. So you play this, you name, I assume, Demon or Kraken. I actually don't know if it really matters which ones you name or which ones you don't name, but either of those, and you get extra Gyruda triggers every time you do that. So that can also be kind of insane as well if you kind of get that going. Yeah, and so then this works really well in cEDH, particularly because there's a lot of decks that are on these clone effects like Flesh Duplicate and Phantasmal Image, and yeah, you can just hit those off of Gyruda as well, which is super cool. You can hit Docksides off of Gyruda's enter the battlefield effect. So all these things are super good. But yeah, the big thing here is that Spark Double, Sakashima the Imposter, and Sakashima of 1,000 Faces allow you to get multiple Gyrudas onto the battlefield, which can assist you in extending your combo or kind of extending your game plan. I don't know if they have a primer here. No, they don't have a primer. So forgive me. I do kind of have trouble figuring out some people's win conditions. Obviously, in this case, like if you just mill yourself out and eventually get to Thassa's Oracle, it's pretty wild. The other ways that I think I was saying was that Ruthless Technomancer can be really good. You use it with Phantasmal Image or Flesh Duplicate, and all of a sudden you are reanimating your Flesh Duplicate and having it enter as Gyruda. And then or you're having it enter as Ruthless Technomancer or something like that, and you kind of loop those. That's definitely a way that I can see winning the game. Another really awesome way is with Tidespout Tyrant. So Tidespout Tyrant in here over Hullbreaker Horror, because it is an even mana cost, right? It is 5 blue, so that's 8. So you can hit it off of your Gyruda. You have this come into play. You cast any of your artifacts, and you make infinite mana. And then also with that infinite mana, you can also just like bounce and replay Gyruda. So Tidespout Tyrant, pretty good win condition in this list, which is cool. And then we have the things like Displacer Kitten and Deadeye Navigator, which can help again flicker Gyruda while you're casting spells or while you're doing things. If you hit a Dockside off of Deadeye Navigator, it's pretty wild. Because Deadeye Navigator says under your control, right, as opposed to under its original control. So if you do have, end up getting a Dockside off of Gyruda, I believe that you should be able to combo with Deadeye Navigator, and then you just combo, right? You make infinite mana, you Deadeye Navigator with Gyruda, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's kind of like what this deck is trying to do is mostly just trying to get a lot of Gyruda triggers, and then it should be able to find a way to win otherwise. Yeah. Well, I guess this is also an artifact addition to the types, and it has Myriad. Oh, wait, that's kind of wild. Wait, this is wild. Yes, you have this enter as a Gyruda. It's not legendary, and then it also means like if this thing ever gets to attack, that's a wild card. I didn't read that card as closely. Yeah, cool. This thing having Disturb, I forget what's on the other side. Create a copy. Oh yeah. So you just like get a copy of it every turn. More of a minor effect, but like there are some cases where that might be good. Then double having Flash is kind of cool. Yeah, and then we have the other creatures here: Dauthi Voidwalker and Gilded Drake. Just good creatures to have in pretty much any deck. Dauthi Voidwalker turning off graveyards, but not turning off your own. Gilded Drake stealing some key permanents is important, and yeah, being able to be hit off Gyruda is super nice. Just sometimes if you like miss your combo pieces or whatever, right? Just hitting a decent interaction card is nice. And then Spectral Arcanist here, I don't know about like other spirits. I guess there's like Deadeye, but like I think it's mostly here to just recast some good cards in graveyards. It's any graveyard, right? From a graveyard without neutral from a graveyard without paying but yeah, so you just get to copy any one cost instant or sorcery. Again, if you have some other spirits, I guess like the Deadeye Navigator here, or you clone it, it can kind of stack up. But at the very least, getting to copy like a Vamp Tutor or a Mystical Tutor or something like that is probably good enough. And again, if you miss on your combo pieces, getting to have some kind of interaction off of your Gyruda casting is good. We talked about that. We talked about Technomancer. There's a Massacre Worm in here. I assume it's just here for again just randomly hitting off of Gyruda. Again, if the board gets too big, right? I don't think there's a lot of times we're going to be using this to win the game. It's again just here to kind of flip. It seems fine. Again, it seems like a necessity because Blue Black does not seem, besides like Toxic Deluge, does not really have a way of interacting with super wide boards. And then there's Italian here. This is just a decent value card, can be hit off Gyruda, and it's just a good card in Dimir. I feel like most Dimir decks are considering this card or like have a reason for not running it. Sorcerers here pretty straightforward here. Good reanimates for, again, when you're milling yourself, you can just reanimate. So the interesting thing about this deck also is I believe there is also Animate Dead. Oh, no, there is no Animate Dead. Why do we not have an Animate Dead? I'll get back to you on that one. Because I kind of feel like we should just have Animate Dead. Yeah, over this, like, Steel Enchantment. I'll also talk about the, like, it seems like there are some cards in here that are questionable. I'll bring those up and I'll talk about it. Yeah, I was showing this to some other people and we're not a fan of some of these cards, and I'll kind of talk about it. But the idea for the deck is really cool, and I'll kind of talk about that. But yeah, but reanimate, so you can leave if the Gyruda ever dies, right? You can leave it in the graveyard, and you can reanimate it instead of paying the commander tax for it, which I think is pretty cool. Obviously, Demonic Tutor, Imperial Seal as tutors, and then we talked about Toxic Deluge here. For our instance here, we got a bunch of, again, the classic stuff that you expect to see. We talked about Demonic Consultation, and sorry, there is no Demonic Consultation. Sorry, we just have Tainted Pact. Where is, yeah, they are choosing not to run Demonic Consultation, I guess because it's a risky card. I guess they do need a certain threshold of stuff. Maybe they have trouble winning if they don't have enough stuff, but I don't know how I feel about that. But maybe. I mean, it does make sense. If your main game plan is not the Oracle console, maybe you're fine just leaving it out. But besides that, yeah, we have the Tainted Pact for the Thoracle. We've got a bunch of counter magic. Stubborn Denial is awesome with Gyruda. Flusterstorm is must have. Mental Misstep must have. Delay is a good one to force negation. Mana Drain to help you cast your big stuff. Mindbreak Trap for for some protection against combo decks, and Force of Will all seem great. Is there no Fierce Guardianship? Yeah, there is no Fierce Guardianship. Again, it just seems like, and a part of this might be, again, that this person, I believe, was running, again, in this event, did not have proxies. Proxies were legal in this event, but, oh, sorry, there it is. I'm so sorry. Forget what I just said. But, like, that is still a consideration of, I think they were talking about some cards that they couldn't get, or didn't have in the deck because they couldn't get them. Stifle is, or sorry, no, they did have proxies. Never mind. Their entire deck was proxies. Forget what I said. We're fine. But like, so that's what I'm saying is like, I don't understand what this Disperse is doing here. This card is super out of place to me. This would just be like an Alchemist Retrieval or something like that. Disperse is a pretty laughable, or Winds of Rebuke. There's just so many cards that do a little bit more than just Disperse exactly. Um, so yeah, I think this Spurs should be something else, but yeah, Swan Song, great. Yeah, so a couple of interaction pieces, a couple of removal spells, and Fatal Push in Dismember. Resculpt is a nice one, being one of the few cards in blue that gets rid of the One Ring once it's on the board. Being able to do that is pretty nice. There's this Ghostly Flicker here. I don't know what it is comboing with. It might be a Spectral Arcanist combo. No, that exiles it. I don't know what this combos with, or if it's just a really powerful card to play while you have like two Gyrudas on the field. Like you have a Gyruda plus a Sakashima, and you like flicker them. But does that work? Because I don't know if that works. I guess if you have two other clones, I don't know if I don't know exactly what's going on with this ghostly flicker. Again, I guess just like getting a trigger. I like Essence Flux. Essence Flux, um, weirdly spirit type being relevant, which is hilarious. But I don't think that again. I don't think that's why it's in the deck. It's there to again double up on Gyruda triggers if someone like tries to remove your Gyruda in response to, let's say, a clone effect, right? So you like play a Sakashima or something like that, and they try and kill your Gyruda. You Essence Flux, you get an extra Gyruda trigger plus the Gyruda trigger from the Sakashima coming into play, and then it's saved from the removal spells. So that's pretty cool. So I definitely like this kind of flicker effect. Again, I just the Ghostly Flicker being 3 mana seems a little bit clunky. So I'm not sure about that. Snuff Out's awesome. We talked about Vam Tutor. And then there are a couple of rituals here, Dark Ritual and Cabal Ritual. Again, really needing to get up to that 6 mana threshold in order to cast your stuff. Yeah, and that's kind of all that's going on here. So yeah, I think I would just I'll talk about this more, but just switch up that disperse. Probably one of the best decks for Jeweled Lotus. Just like it helps you out so much. All of the artifact mana you can imagine. Grim Monolith, also a nice card in this deck. There's Mana Vault, obviously. The One Ring. Right, so just a good card to run while you're running all of this artifact mana. Right. We know this. I assume this is nothing crazy. A really spicy couple of enchantments here. Obviously, the staples in Mystic and Rhystic, but then Heartless Summonings being a really powerful ramp card. So you play this, and your Gyruda costs 2 less. We don't really care about the fact that it's slightly weaker. No one cares about that, right? Just playing this and casting Gyruda potentially on turn 3 or 4. Super powerful and just controlling the game until then, right? Again, that's why you still want this counter magic here. Blackbark Connections is a good mid-range card. I don't know if it's the best in this deck. Kind of not making the best usage of, I guess all of your life. I guess you're not really using your life for much else, but then, yeah, like it just seems a little slow. I don't think a lot of decks have been on this card for quite a while. And then Steel Enchantment here, as I talked about, is kind of weird. I feel like this should just be Animate Dead and kind of dig more into the Reanimator theme. Having this here to kind of steal some Rhystic studies is like fine, but if that's the scenario, they already have the Rhystic study, they might be able to counter it, and I don't think Steel Enchantment is a card that I'm particularly interested in putting into a deck like this that already is kind of running some questionable cards. Questionable not because they're bad, but questionable because they are commander dependent. That's the downside of playing a commander centric deck is when you are playing without your commander, it's pretty tough. When you're playing with your commander, obviously your card's good. So yeah, I think in this deck, I think I would really just rather have an Animate Dead. And then in the lanes here, I don't think there's anything too crazy. Urza Saga here to help you get your Jeweled Lotus or any of your other useful artifacts. Cavern of Souls to make your Gyruda uncounterable, super important. I think there's the only kind of specialty lands. I'm kind of wondering why there's no City of Traders. Again, just playing it as your last couple of land sources to play Gyruda seems like it could be helpful. There's these huge considering pool that I probably should be looking at. Hopefully, yeah, say Animate Dead. It's a card that they're considering. They're not considering the the City of Traders. So interesting. There's a bunch of large creatures. Yeah, someone was mentioning Hoarding Broodlord as another interesting card to mess around with. I think those were the kind of like the like Notion Thief is all right, but I don't think too many decks need that anymore. Yeah, I think that was about it for. I guess Dread Return can kind of be a cool. Yeah, so like they are considering Alchemist Retrieval. I just don't know why they would run Disperse over Alchemist Retrieval. Yeah, offers like there's a couple of these cards here that seem good. Offer, delay, model the mixture. Yeah, just some of these cards I feel like are higher, should be higher on the list. Whir is like actually a deceptively good card for a deck that's trying to play a 6-mana commander. You get 3 blue mana, you cast it for 0, you get your Jewel Lotus. It's kind of like I get an Urza Saga kind of function of just getting that card. But anyways, yeah, I think I would consider City of Traders here. So yeah, again, the idea for this deck is super cool, of just like playing Gyruda and playing a bunch of clone effects, milling through your entire deck. Obviously there's the fail cases, but yeah, they keep printing clones. I think we just had like there was like another one, right? There was this the Autumn Soldier, and then there was like another one also in the set or whatever. I know I like Mirror Hall Mimic, but I'm thinking of like something else. But like, yeah, I feel like this kind of deck is just going to get better and better and better, which I think is super cool. As long as they keep printing 4-mana clones, the more that they do that, I think the better this deck is going to be. I think they did right in the newest set. I think there is a in Outlaws of Thunder Junction. I think there is a clone effect. I think it might be 3 mana though. That would make it worse. Right, there's a couple of those cards like Glasspool Mimic, right? But that's not a card that you can play with Gyruda or like put into play off of Gyruda. So I'm not sure if you really want that. So yeah. Yeah. So I think the strategy is super well thought out. I think there are just some and again the core of the deck is good. I think there are some cards that are missing that I would kind of I think should be in higher consideration. Again, if the creators of these decks or whatever have considered it and decide not, again, who am I to tell them how they should build their deck? But yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Yeah, so that's the deck. Pretty much just Gyruda, cast it and get a bunch of clones, control the game plan in the meantime, and then find some way to win. Once you've cast your Gyrudas and stuff. Yeah. So in terms of like a rating, it's kind of tough because again, I like the deck. I think it's super sweet. I really liked seeing the deck do its thing, and it definitely looks a lot more competitive than it looks. Did I say that right? It is a lot more competitive than it might appear, right? It kind of looks like, oh, you're just playing clunky creatures, but the moment they resolved that Gyruda and they just started flipping, copying, and like getting a bunch of powerful effects, yeah, like it just looks super threatening. Again, obviously, like with most commander centric decks, if there's a Draenith Magistrate in the game, or if like someone just counters the Gyruda and just like pumps like stomps them into the ground, like yeah, they're not going to do much afterwards, but like that's with every deck that I play, Vadrik, Stella, all these decks, it's the same thing. So and of course you can still just fall back on Thassa's Oracle, Tainted Pact. So yeah. So I like that idea, but I do think that yeah, I would change up the Disperse. I'm not sure about Stifle. I'm not sure about Black Market Connections and Steel Enchantment. I definitely think Animate Dead should be in the list. And yeah, I think those are my main things. Besides that, I think it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna give it I guess a 7. I think it's a really cool idea. I think it just needs to be tweaked a little bit more. But I really do like the idea, and I think it's so super spicy. And I think they did pretty well. I don't remember exactly. I could look up what their record was, but they did fine, right? I don't know if they made top cut, but they were definitely. I think they definitely did better than me. let's put it that way. They definitely did better than me. So, yeah, pretty cool list. And yeah, thanks. Thank you so much for to this person for showing it to me. I definitely like I saw this and I immediately wanted to show it to you guys because I thought it was super interesting. So yeah, that's the list. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, remember to like, comment, subscribe. If you have a deck that you really want me to look at, think it's super interesting or super spicy, whatever, you can do so in the comments. I also have a Discord where I do I have a dedicated channel just for this video series or whatever. So post that stuff there. Let me know what kind of decks you want to see. I've been doing a lot of cEDH deck lists just because that's just what's been going on. But I know I have some friends of mine giving me some casual lists, so I'll probably do one more casual or a lower power deck in the future. So all right, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.